So here I am again. The last video that I made was about motherly advice, about how when in the dynamics between people, if there's something that bothers you about someone, or you're having negative emotions about someone, it's because they're a direct reflection of you. What's on the inside is definitely represented by what's on the outside, who you meet, where you go. And I found that in my life, before I go on, let me make this disclaimer or warning. When it comes to helping other people, I try to be as professional as possible in my speech, in my vocabulary. But when it comes to talking about myself, anything is liable to come out my mouth. So this is probably not meant for young children. So anyway, as I was saying, that everything on the outside is a direct reflection of what's on the inside. And I found with my life that 9.999 times out of 10, when I speak truth, within between 2 hours, most of the time, and 2 days, it can go as long as 2 weeks, but it hasn't happened. That hasn't happened in a long time. So between 2 hours and 2 days, something will come up to verify and confirm that what I spoke was the truth. And that's what happened. And I think it's been maybe 2.5 weeks since I made that video. And boy, did that shit show up. I was suck punched, side blinded, even a little bit heartbroken by what manifested, and the whole time, and it sent me into a downward spiral. And the entire time that I was quote unquote tripping, I continuously tried to figure out, wonder, realize, what was it about that person or that situation that was a direct reflection of what was going on with me on the inside? And I realized that it was a direct reflection of the trauma that I had gone through in my childhood. I'm not going to get into that. You can read my book and find out. Anyway, and it was mind-blowing. And I find that in shadow work, this shit will come up. And a lot of times we as humans will stay in that shit without the realization or the concept or the understanding or knowledge that it's just a shadow. And you can work through it. I once read a book called, I think it was called Ending the Death Habit, where this author said that he went through different types of physical ailments and diseases and even mental issues, but instead of getting stuck there, he was able to work through it and move on. And I think a lot of times we as humans will get stuck in the shadow and think that's all there is. So I'm forever, when these shadow moments or shadow seasons or shadow whatever the fuck it is comes around, it is for, I'm going to put it in first person, it is for my education, it is for my development, it is so that I can evolve past that. And it made me wonder, is there such a thing as being too strong? My whole life I've been told you're strong, you're strong, you're strong. My whole life I've heard, oh, don't worry about her, she'll deal with it, she always does. Oh, she'll be alright, she's strong. And that came to my direct mental vision when I called near to me, and there was a tremor in my voice, and they couldn't talk at the moment. I said, please call me back. I need to hear your voice. Me trying to be strong, not trying to overburden them, but still needing them. A couple days went by, didn't hear anything, and so I'm wondering, like, what the fuck? Didn't they realize? So I called this individual back. We were talking, and I asked them, when we last spoke, did you not realize I was going through something? And they were completely oblivious, had no clue. I said, you didn't hear anything in my voice? They were like, no, what's going on? And I said, you know what? That's on me, because I should have been direct. I should have said, I need help. There's something going on with me. And instead, I took the passive aggressive, I gotta be strong attitude, mindset, and behavior, instead of allowing myself to be vulnerable at that moment. And it came to me, is there such a thing as being too strong? Is there such a thing as wanting to give the image of I can handle this when you need help? You know, I have a friend that's sick, and they broke down in tears because somebody needed to help them, because they didn't want to be a burden. What in this world, what in our history, what in the dynamics of our relationship as females has taught us, or what was it that made us perceive that being vulnerable or needing help is a sign of weakness? What is it about society that says females have to act like they're strong all the time? So anyway, it hit me like a bombshell, like a ton of bricks, that people maybe didn't reach out to me or notice what I was going through, because I kept wanting to portray this facade of being strong. And even strong people need a shoulder to lean on, or help, or advice. And the funny thing is, when I was talking to this person who happens to be my youngest son, not even 21 yet, and when I realized that being too strong was a facade, it was my passive aggressive way of not just not wanting to burden anybody, but having a dysfunctional or illusional, if that's even a word, concept of what it is to be strong. And being strong doesn't mean that you don't need help. Being strong does not mean that you don't have moments where you need to lean on somebody. And doing this shadow work and realizing that all this shit, as a result of me getting sucker punched, like emotionally, mentally, was a indirect correlation to things that I thought I had gotten over. And instead of dwelling in it, I accepted the fact that me not being perfect is perfect. It's perfection. Me having a moment of weakness and allowing myself to be that is strength. This whole facade of I'm strong, I can handle everything. And yeah, I've handled everything because I felt like I didn't have a choice as a result of what happened in my childhood and feeling like I didn't have anybody to turn to manifested itself in my adult life because I didn't know there was another way to be. And it was somebody not even 1 years old that took the time to talk to me so that I could reinvest in and redetermine and redefine my concept and my perspective of what it is to be strong. You know, being feminine is a strength. Having a moment of sadness and being okay with that and working through that and getting to the other end is strength. And I'm specifically speaking to the feminine. I'm not talking women. Feminine. All of us have feminine and male aspects to our being. So I'm talking to the feminine wherever it may lie. I think, from my perspective, it's time out for all this. I can handle everything bullshit. Yeah, all the answers are in us, and God doesn't give us more than we can handle and all that shit. But in that, we're surrounded by guardian angels, human and otherwise. It could be a tree that you can lean against and get that energy. It could be a son. It could be a daughter. It could be a commercial on TV. But it has to come from the inside out. So, therein lies or lied my question. Is there such a thing as being too strong from the platform of I have to put on this face and this facade of I can handle everything by myself? And the universe keeps telling me, reach out, talk to people, ask for help, which is something that I wasn't used to doing. And hallelujah, finally I listened and also realized in doing this shadow work and in becoming, and I'll leave it at that, becoming and being, that it's like a spiritual or an emotional colonic. Let that shit, I had to learn to let that shit come up. I had to learn not to beat myself down because I needed help. And I'm not making this video because I want anybody to feel sorry for me or pat and burn me. That's not my MO at all. I'm making this video because at what point are we going to let something outside of ourselves, the world, media, other people's opinions determine what strength looks and feels like? You know, strength has many aspects and many faces. And a moment of vulnerability, actually allowing yourself to be vulnerable, that and being okay with it, that in and of itself is strength. And you work through that shit and you come out on the other side. So I really believe that this, after making that video about motherly advice and all that, I really believe that shit happened because this was stuff that I thought I had worked through or had compartmentalized so that I could continue on with this facade of being strong as determined by what I thought the world expected of me. And I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful that there are people, places, and things out there that provide the space, the safe space to have these moments of vulnerability, even when, and they were always there. I just didn't realize because I kept putting on this facade of quote unquote being too strong. So with that energy and with that dynamic and with that mindset, it put a block on people getting close to me that the universe had provided so that I could be safe in a moment of vulnerability or a season of vulnerability. You know, everything about my demeanor and about my energy field said, don't approach, I can handle this shit. And I'm just thankful for all the teachings and all the dedicated mentors on YouTube in life, random conversation that planted seeds so that I could go through this cleansing, so that I could go through this shadow work and come out on the other side of it with my own definition, perspective, and concept of what it is to be strong from the viewpoint of the feminine. So, this helped somebody. I hope so. It helped me. And I just wanted to talk about that.